The Fake Baseball Podcast is brought to you by SalaryCapSports.com. Enjoy fantasy baseball and want to give a new format a try? SalaryCapSports.com has got you covered. It's free and you can win cash prizes. Start with $50 million and build the best team you can before opening day. After you've built your squad, you get 4 trades a week to buy and sell players, adjust your lineup, and maximize your value. Score points, play against other contestants, and at the end of the whole thing, you have the chance to win free cash prizes. So make sure you go check that out now at SalaryCapSports.com. That is SalaryCapSports.com. What up, everybody? We are back again. I know we only had one episode last week, but that's okay. Life is busy. Life is hard. But we're here for the people, as always. We love this. We absolutely love this. We're here to talk more baseball. There's been a lot that has happened lately, a lot we want to get into. And if you can't tell by the title, we want to talk some rookies and some of the younger guys that may make some impact. But first, I got to ask, Dylan, how you doing today, my dude?
I'm doing good. We're going to get into the rookies a little bit, but I thought something's interesting. Kirk Cousins found a team. Saquon Barkley found a team. Tony Pollard found a team. Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell have yet to find teams. What's going on, man? That's crazy.
Oh no, dude.
That's crazy. But that might be a good segue. Blake Snell in the first topic, actually, before any rookies. There's some stuff out of Yankee camp, huh?
Yeah, dude. Garrett Cole came out. I think it was today. It came out. I don't think it was like late last night. I think it was this morning because that's when I was seeing it. Garrett Cole with some elbow issues going. He said he's having a hard time kind of getting back to feeling okay after he pitches, even after like short little stints. His elbow feels like it does after he throws 100 pitches, which is not a great sign, especially the fact that it's only March 11th right now.
Yes,
so having a guy that feels like that already, especially Garrett Cole, is worrisome. We've talked before, like when it comes to Kodai Senga, about how nerve-wracking a pitcher with a shoulder issue can be. Elbow is like the scariest of issues for a pitcher because that's Tommy John 99.999% of the time. And if it's not Tommy John, that is a soggy arm, which also sucks. Shout out, who is that? Doug Fister? Or no, Drew Smiley, Mariners legend Drew Smiley with the soggy arm. So for a pitcher going, some of you guys used your first round pick on Garrett Cole this year, or a very early second round pick. Dylan, I got asked this question by Tyler Myers on Twitter. Shout out you, bro. You have been asking me questions for like 2 years now. Great follow. He has Garrett Cole set as a keeper in his league that drafts, I think he said tonight, that league draft. It is a league, a league where tough. A lot of pitchers get kept. So having an ace can be tough, and typically you have to keep one if you're going to have one. If it's you, Dylan, are you keeping Garrett Cole, or are you?
My boy said it best.
Waiting. Oh, I knew.
My boy Uncle Ted said it best. You don't draft starters early. There's so many pitchers in the league. Yeah, I mean, like, they're the top starters for a reason, but there's so much depth. Not the main issue here. They're going to get multiple opinions, and that's never a good sign because that means the first opinion probably wasn't great. You're in a predicament, my friend. That's a tough one. I don't know if I got a good answer for you. He's been one of the best pitchers of this generation. Verlander bounced back from a Tommy John. We don't know if that's the case, but multiple opinions off an elbow injury. We can maybe assume that. I don't know. I guess it depends. If you're looking to just hold him on, keep him around long term, then do it. But that's a tough one because we don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, my advice to him was that if it's me, I'm not keeping Garrett Cole. I mean, it's tough because I think I saw something that said he had. I'm going to butcher this number, but I know I'm very close. I'm in the ballpark. he had gone like 1,245 innings without going on like a COVID-related IL stint, which is crazy. That's a really long time. He's been Mr. Consistency for so long.
And yeah,
it's been so good for so long too. that makes me very nervous. And to throw it back to Uncle Ted, this is where his strategy comes into play a little bit. Ted is big on drafting a lot of starters early. Or a lot of hitters early.
Put some respect.
Yeah,
on
a lot of bats early, starters late. So yeah, I'm passing on Garrett Cole as of right now because they said that they're not going to have an answer, or they're not going to know what his injury is today, and they're not going to have like the results by tomorrow or whatever. If you've ever gotten an MRI, you get that shit the same day. Like you have your results the same day
for the most part. Yeah.
The fact that they're not releasing the results today, they're saying they're probably not going to have the results tomorrow, means they've already seen it and it's not something good. It's
the multiple opinions is never, regardless of what you're doing, like means the first one was not what you want to hear. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying though. Like there could definitely be a decline. Probably is Justin Verlander is just a different dog. He bounced back and got a second elbow from it. I don't know if that's the same for Cole. And like, it just depends on your league. It's a tough spot. It's a real tough spot, but yeah, probably leaning more no. But if he was younger, if we're talking Garrett Cole 5-6 years ago, I'm saying keep him. This point in his career, a little tougher.
Yeah, at this point, it does get tough. And yeah, probably, I think we're both camp don't keep Cole. I mean, he said Cole Reagans is probably going to be the best available starter for him to take. So I think we're just move from one Cole to the other Cole.
Upside. Yeah, take that other.
I like Cole Reagans. I don't necessarily like Cole Reagans as my freaking first starting pitcher off the board for my team.
He's a 1.5, don't you think?
Yeah, but like if that's what you got to do, and then you can snag a solid second starter right after that, I think it's okay. It's not going to make up for losing a Garrett Cole, but it's going to be good enough that you'll get good enough ratio, strikeouts, wins, all of that you'll be at least okay. Like you can end up being happy by the end of it. Chad said, here's the bigger question. Does Garrett Cole ever pitch for the Yankees again? Oh boy. That's a good question because I think this is I don't think this is the final year for him. I think or is this the final year? He has an opt-out after this year. I'm butchering this as well. I swear he has like an opt-out after this year, or an option after this year. Yeah, he has that weird void year deal. Yeah. So, I think he does again because I don't think Garrett Cole's going to go anywhere else. I think New York's his final stop. So yeah, I think he'll pitch again. Now? Oh man, probably as old as me, so I can't call him old. He's a young buck, probably like 34.
33.
If I had to get came up 33. In 2000 and yeah, like 2013, I think was his first Bowman because I have a couple of those cards. So speaking of cards, I've been thinking. So as I sit here and look at my desk, I know you guys can't see, and it's for good reason. I have cards everywhere. I'm thinking about just running some giveaways for people that are in the live chats here and there. I have all kinds of random cards that I could just give away and it wouldn't hurt anything. So maybe we'll do this on Twitter later today. Matt Wallner, Topps Chrome, rookie auto. I'll give that away on Twitter today. So make sure you guys follow the show, subscribe to the YouTube, do whatever. We'll give away a Matt Wallner auto. Deep cut right there for this year. Matt Wallner is going to be a savage. But let's get into some rookies. And I think probably the best potential. I mean, he's a prospect, but he's going to be a rookie. So we'll lead it off with him. Jackson Holliday, the dude everybody's freaking talking about, man. He's so good. He's playing out of his mind this spring training. He just hit a grand slam yesterday. So far, he's hitting 286 with 2 doubles, 2 triples, a home run, 5 RBI, and he stole a base. The dude does everything you like. Granted, he's striking out 38% of the time in spring training, but
okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either until I just read it. But it's okay.
This ain't the jugs machine no more.
It's not. And I think he'll be okay. And he's seemingly playing his way into being day one, opening day, second baseman for the Baltimore Orioles. He's trending closer and closer to being a top 100 pick in fantasy. Dylan, what kind of impact do you think he can have this season? I guess for both fantasy and regular baseball. What do you think his upside is for this season?
I think he's got like a 10, 15 home run ceiling for his rookie year. I don't know if he can push more than that, but I definitely think he can get over 10. Stolen bases, I think he can be around that 15, 20 mark. If he can get, 10 to 15 bombs, steal that many bases, he's in a really good spot too in Baltimore. I think he's going to be a legit candidate for AL Rookie of the Year. He's just kind of got that vibe to him, and just the numbers he's putting up. The grand slam he hit was ridiculous, getting on top of that fastball and just pulling it, driving it. Like, that was stupid. I think he's got a legit shot to win Rookie of the Year this year. It's a loaded team, good offense, a lot going right around him.
Yeah, and it looks like Ariel Cohen updated the ATC projections. They seem really, really light to me for this year. He's got him 498 plate appearances. We'll just say 500. He's got him hitting 259 with 9 home runs, 11 stolen bases, 63 runs scored, and another 26 extra base hits. So like 35 extra base hits while hitting 259 and stealing 11 bases. That feels light to me. I think we go over that.
A lot of these rookie projections feel light to me.
They do, and I think that's for a reason. I think he did come out on Twitter. I shouldn't say he came out on Twitter. He responded to somebody the other day on Twitter that had said something about his projections, and he said they're light for a reason. So, especially with rookies, like they do trend towards being on the lighter side.
I mean, that's like a year-to-year thing.
Yeah,
that's like a year-to-year thing. I guess it makes sense. But on the surface, coming into each year, I guess you could say, oh, that looks really light. But,
yeah,
I mean, how much can you actually really expect? Because we see guys flop all the time.
All the time. One more question as far as Jackson Holliday is concerned. What do you think he ends this year? Because he's going to play second base. Going to be second base eligible. Yep. I think he's starting as second base eligible.
That's what I can't pull it
up at the moment.
Well, at least starting as second base, but yeah.
What do you think he finishes the year as the top second baseman in fantasy baseball?
You got Marcus.
What do you think is outside that?
Yeah, just Warren. Oh, you got a lot of big. On the spot. I'm just going to pause. I'm looking at I just go back and look at my rankings real quick. Caught me on the spot here. Scrolling. Good podcasting. I mean, I don't think there's no reason that he can't finish over somebody like a CJ Abrams. I mean, they might put up the same amount of points, but in different ways. I don't know. I think he could finish around that 10 to 12 range.
Yeah, I think
that's at a very safe starting point. But I think if all goes right, I think right here, like he can be top 5, top 10 just as easily too if he figures it out. Like really starts clicking.
Yeah, I agree. I think pretty safely, probably 10th. If I wanted to get a little zesty, maybe like 7th best second baseman this year, which is great because second base is not a very thin position. There is only about 10 guys that you can really count on. If you want to stretch it, you can go to like 12, 13 if you want to kind of dig deep and hope for some upside there. But yeah, I think top 7. So I think the fact that he is trending closer to being a top 100 pick is pretty spot on. I think I would use the top 100 pick on Jackson Holliday right now. I think I saw somebody the other day took him way before that too. So yeah, I like him there. Uncle Ted said Thomas Segesi, I don't even know how to say his last name, I'm not gonna lie, is the Cardinals' best player. He's the best player in spring training. That's for damn sure. He has a shot maybe to break camp. They do have a very loaded kind of overall team, so I'm not quite sure where they would find a way to sneak him in. May take some injury news to get him into the lineup, but he's a guy that can play middle infield and third base as well. He's got some time there. Right now he's hitting .391 with a dinger and 9 RBI in spring training. Pretty damn good. He's only struck out 8% of the time, too, which is cool. So another guy to keep an eye on. But then moving on from there, I think we just stick with the Orioles for now just because it seems the easiest.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to lump these two together. Coby Mayo and Colton Cowser are both also having incredible spring trainings. I don't think anybody really expected them to have as good a springs as they are having. I think everybody hoped Jackson Holliday could be this good in spring. I don't think anybody thought Jackson Holliday was going to be this good. And Coby Mayo and Colton Cowser obviously are not. They're not guys you're just overlooking. They're both top prospects for a reason. Right now, Coby Mayo looks like on Fangraphs is the 23rd overall prospect. I think some guys have him higher. Now, the guys over at Scout the Stat Line, I think, have him as the number 10 prospect. So, pretty big there. Mayo currently is hitting .333 with 5 doubles, a home run, and 9 RBI this spring with a stolen base. That is absurd. There's only one projection system that has him playing more than 30 games this year. That would be Zips, has him playing 138 games. They have him projected to hit .231 with 29 doubles, 19 home runs, 81 ribbies. Do you think Coby Mayo can make a legitimate impact for the Orioles in 2024, or do you think they may have too crowded of an infield for him to be able to get enough at bats?
Yeah, that's kind of one thing we're going back and forth on before we hopped on here was they just got so many bodies in the infield right now. It's just kind of tough to put everybody in a spot right now. Mountcastle's still there. He's safe. With so much youth in Baltimore and so much expectations, I wonder how much of this youth movement you can put on the field on opening day. I'm not just saying to eventually throughout the season, but on opening day. I think you got to give these guys a little bit of time to come out the gates and get a little bit settled in. You see it with a lot of these guys. They get like a month and a half down the minors. They're called up and then they're ready to go, and then settled in, smooth swings and all that. I think that might be the route for Mayo. But for Cowser, I think he's got a better shot in making the lineup opening day. Just more opportunity in the Baltimore outfield compared to the Baltimore infield. That's where I see it.
I very much agree with you there. There's certainly way more of an opportunity in the outfield than there is in the infield. And obviously that's where Colton Cowser comes into play. He had a very uninspiring stint in the majors last year. 26 games, he hit only 115 with an almost 30% strikeout rate. He had only 2 extra base hits, just 2 doubles. But he was great in the minors in 87 games. He had, or at AAA, I should say. In 87 games, he had, quick math would say, 36 extra base hits while hitting 300 with 9 stolen bases. It's great. And this spring, he's hitting .450 with 4 dingers and 9 RBI. That's crazy. Granted, the small sample sizes are what you make of it, but when somebody can find a way to hit 4 dingers in 26 plate appearances, that's pretty fucking good, even if it is spring training. I mean, I do think Cowser does have that clearer path to playing time in the outfield. Uncle Ted is over here beating the drum for Ryan Mountcastle to get traded. If Mountcastle gets traded, Coby Mayo will definitely play first base. But Colton Cowser, I do think is probably the guy I would target more. I know in my TGFBI draft, I did take Colton Cowser.
He's still available.
It's like
in mine.
I think I took him in like the 29th round or something like that. And I know you said you're right around there and he's still available.
I'm about,
love that pick, dude.
Let me see. I'm about like 7-8 picks away. I think, that's going to be my next guy for sure. Fingers crossed. Hopefully nobody's on here stream sniping. Gotcha.
We do have a very large amount of people watching us in the live today. Shout out all of you watching us live. We really appreciate it. We love doing this, so it's cool to see so many people here hanging out and watching us. And also shout out you guys listening on the podcast feed too. Whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to the podcast. We really appreciate you guys. And if you could show us a little more love and hit that 5-star rating and write up a little review telling people how cool we are, so more people could come in and check us out, that would be incredible. The next guy that I wanted to talk about, he's probably not going to be up till at least after the All-Star break, but he needs to be talked about. It's James Wood for the Washington Nationals. We have seen these uber athletic guys like an Oneil Cruz, Ellie De La Cruz, guys like that come up and make massive impacts for their team early on, whether it's throwing hard, hitting the ball super hard, running really fast. And honestly, James Wood kind of fits that same build. He's 6'6", 234. He plays in the outfield. He doesn't play in the infield like the others. And so far for Washington in spring training, he's hitting 367 with 3 home runs, 5 ribbies, and he stole a base.
He just hit a triple
the other day.
Legit bombs.
Yeah, like tank jobs. So, granted, the Washington Nationals are not going to rush any of their prospects up because they're not competing for anything. Yeah. So he's not going to break camp with the team as much as we would love him to. Same with like a Dylan Cruz. But it's very likely that he could come up after the All-Star break. Are you willing to take a flyer on James Wood right now?
He's on my queue.
Is he? I mean, I drafted him in TGFBI. I'm going to be honest. I drafted him around before Colton Cowser just because I like it.
Yeah, he's on my queue, and I like the idea. I mean, I have the same idea with Paul Skeens. He was just floating around for too long. He's going to pitch for the Pirates this year. It's not going to be opening day. Kind of the same reasoning I was just floating with Mayo. Give it a month and a half. Let him get a little bit more time to get right. They'll find their way up. Same thing. I like the idea of stashing these young guys onto the bench, because what's the point of stressing on waivers when you can already just have them locked and loaded, ready to go? Because are these guys, and especially these big drafts that we're doing, are these guys late in drafts gonna outperform or have the same type of ceiling as these rookies do? I'm willing to take a shot on the rookies personally this late. Like, the ceiling's too much. So like if a couple of these other guys I'm looking at are gone, I'm gonna pick James Wood.
Yeah, and it's worth it for that upside. For me, especially like TGFBI, for example, is a 30-round, 15-team draft. You're drafting 450 people. When you get past like round 20, a lot of the times, as long as my starters are there, like when I get to the bench, I am fully okay taking a very high upside with a very low floor rookie over just, I used this term last time, but a steady Eddie veteran that's going to get you really boring, middling stats. That's going to be pretty consistent, but you just know what he is. He's not going to go crazy, but he's not going to suck. I'll take that lottery ticket later on. Because I mean, there does come a point that with those later picks, a lot of time you're like your 24th, 25th, 26th round pick, you're not going to end the season with that person on your roster. Right. So they're expendable players that can be moved. So I love somebody like James Wood right there.
And in the case of like a weekly league or whatever, where you're locked for like a week, are you really going to like be flipping and changing your lineup that much, that drastically? I mean, somebody gets hurt, I get it, but no injuries. Yeah. Are you going to be flipping your like bench into your lineup like that after week 1? I don't know. I let it usually go for a few weeks until I feel like I need to make changes. So I just want to make sure I got these guys stashed up before these guys can get their hands on him. That's the way I see it.
Yep, I like to be the one that when it gets like June and somebody gets called up and everybody's scrambling to the waiver wire to pick him up. I like being the guy that's everybody's like, oh, exactly. Damn, I already picked him up. And like, fuck that, I already drafted him. Let alone picked him up, drafted him. So yeah, I like James Wood as the late round pick. If you're in like an 8 or a 10 team league or like a shallow 12 team league with 3 outfielders, I'd probably pass on drafting James Wood right now. But 12 team league with 5 outfielders or like more picks, or like 15 team, all that bigger leagues, I guess. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Bigger leagues. Yeah, I'm taking a flyer on James Wood and I'm stashing him big time.
This is the point we're trying to make right here, Uncle Ted. What's the point?
There we go.
You know, we're not trying to waste that, not waste the fab.
And another one that Jesus Christ, another rookie that I want to cover because much like Jackson Holliday, it looks like he is going to break camp with the starting spot. And my brother Bryce would kill me if I didn't mention him because he is fully in on collecting his cards right now. Jackson Merrill of the San Diego Padres.
All the Jacksons.
Looks like he is going to break camp as the starting. I know they've been playing him in left field. I think he's going to end up as the starting center fielder for the San Diego Padres. They just optioned a bunch of guys back to the minors. Jackson Merrill was not one of them. He started in center field today for the San Diego Padres. Former shortstop that they've moved to the outfield because his bat's so good that they're just trying to find a way to get him in the lineup. And if you watch that first Padres spring training game, when in the first inning they were interviewing Fernando Tatis, they asked him about Jackson Merrill, and he said that Jackson Merrill is so good that they need to find a way to get him in the lineup day one, just because his bat is so good. He said he'll learn outfield as he goes, but his bat is too good to not be there day one, and it's looking like he's going to be. He didn't play above Double-A last year, but in 46 Double-A games, he had 5 home runs, 5 stolen bases, struck out less than 12% of the time, which I love.
Yeah.
And another 15 extra base hits. The dude can do a little bit of everything. Looking like another Fernando Tatis style overall, all-around talent kind of player. Do you liking Jackson Merrill for this year, or are you a little hesitant on him just because he hasn't played above Double-A?
Well, I don't really take into consideration. Well, if you're below Double-A, it's a little bit different. I've kind of always seen it as Double-A is the level where you really get your pitching development and you get your hitting development a lot from Triple-A, especially on the West Coast, just how the parks play. That's where, I mean, the Mariners will do that. They'll bring their pitchers up a lot of the time from Double-A and then bring their bats up. Yeah, bring their bats up from Triple-A. So it's a little bit different, but I mean, if the bat plays, the bat plays. Like we're talking about a 20-year-old for the Orioles starting at second base for them this year on opening day. If the bat plays, the bat plays. There's probably going to be a 17, 18-year-old catcher starting for the Padres next year too. He's real close. The bat plays, the bat plays.
Ethan Styles.
Yeah. So yeah. And if he's getting this type of endorsement from Fernando Tatis, who was one of the team captains. Yeah, and best players are for sure in Double-A. I agree with that. You got a lot of these retreads and, you know, just guys trying to salvage their career in Triple-A. But on the West Coast, you do see a lot of bats coming from Triple-A. He'll be fine. I think he'll be on the opening day roster, like you were saying. And I think he's a little bit safer of a bet compared to the James Wood, who we may have to wait on. Jackson Merrill, I think, is a lock to be on the Padres opening day roster at this point. So I would probably go Merrill over somebody like James Wood right now.
Yeah, I would too. I'm curious to see where Merrill ends up hitting in the lineup, because again, that does factor into where I would rank him. I don't necessarily like guys hitting ninth, but there's a few guys that are good enough while hitting ninth that I think they're fantasy relevant, like a Zach Neto. Looks like he's going to bat ninth for the Angels this year. I think he's very, very, very fantasy relevant. I'm trying to find where Jackson Merrill's ADP is right now. Looks like he is too far down to even try and worry about finding right now. He's past 300, it looks like, unless I just completely missed him. So yeah, I think he's well worth a pick this year. So keep him in mind in your leagues. I think he's viable in any league size for what it's worth. I know we did have a little caveat on James Wood. I think Jackson Merrill you can just draft and be pretty happy with the results that you're going to get there. And one more guy we wanted to cover, Junior Caminero. He was a lot of people's early pick for AL Rookie of the Year, or like one of the front runners for Rookie of the Year. And I believe I saw today that Tampa Bay optioned him back to the minors. There was already a rumor out there that he wasn't going to start the season in the majors. Yep, Rays have optioned Major League Baseball's number 4 prospect, Junior Caminero, to the minor leagues. So he's a big upside guy. He was getting drafted fairly early, but early enough that he was fantasy relevant. I know he fell quite a bit in my TGFBI draft just because people were a little nervous about whether or not he was going to start in the majors. But the dude has a big time bat in the minors last year. 81 games at AA last year. He hit 20 home runs. Another 36 games in high A. He hit 11. So under 120 games, he hit 31 home runs last year while batting well over 300. He was up for a cup of coffee at the end of the year for Tampa Bay. He did hit a dinger, drove in 7, hit 235. Not really worried about the 235 batting average in 7 games. That's fine. The fact that he drove in 7 games is pretty damn impressive. And he had an okay spring so far. 9 games, he hit 269 with the home run, 4 RBI. Also had a double. So he did a little bit. He did enough, only struck out 15% of the time. I think for me, Junior Caminero is somebody that needs to be seen as a high upside stash. You can't draft him right now planning on him contributing anytime soon. I would love it if the Rays found a way to hurry the hell up to get him back up to the major league level, because I think he is better than a lot of the options that they have in the infield. And I think there's an easy way to find significant playing time for him. But you don't know when that's going to happen. So for me, he's just a very high upside stash that I think I saw Eric Cross said he has easy 30+ home run power if he plays a full season, which is great. There's only a handful of guys that can hit 30 or more home runs, and not many of them are only 20 years old and playing in a lineup like Tampa Bay. So are you drafting Junior Caminero at his current ADP right now? Or I guess not necessarily his current ADP, because it just got announced today that he was dropping down.
Where did he go in yours? I'm about to go double check mine.
Oh man. I don't even know in mine. He fell like 5 or 6 rounds. He fell far enough in my draft that I was texting Yancey. Shout out Yancey. I was texting Yancey telling him, like, I think I'm gonna friggin' take him. Like, he's fallen so far that at this point I think I've got to take him. Somebody took him right before I was going to.
Got you.
Current ADP right now is 214. It's not terrible. Okay. It looks like on Yahoo he's going at 280. ESPN he's going 189. NFBC for you higher up players, he's going about 232. How are you feeling about that?
It's kind of where you start shooting your shots. Like if you want to kind of fill out your bench with some vets, or do exactly what we're talking about. It's all preferencing at the end of the day. I feel like just do what you want to do. Me, it depends how my team's looking, how I'm looking at that particular position, but I'm usually the type to get really excited about young players and their ceiling. He's probably a guy, again, I would stash and just keep on the bench until he's up and ready. Yeah, I think we'll really learn a lot the first couple weeks of the season. First 2 or 3 weeks, just kind of get the vibe, get the reports from minor leagues and all that, see how they're looking and playing. But Tampa Bay is a smart group. I don't think they're going to rush him or put him in a bad spot. They're going to, they'll pull him up when he's ready.
I agree. I think they'll pull him up when he's ready as well. I think maybe service time might have a little bit to do with it. Because I can't imagine somebody like Jose Caballero is stopping Junior Caminero from getting at bats at the major league level. And if he is, there's a shelf life on that, and it's not a very long time. So if somebody like a Caballero is a placeholder for Junior Caminero, we could see Caminero by May easily. I do think it may be closer to the All-Star break. I mean, I don't have any like insider information that says that, but I do think it could potentially be closer to the All-Star break. But even then, having somebody like a Junior Caminero on your team that you don't have to spend fab on later if you want to use a later round draft pick on him, so you don't have to use the fab. Having him in the second half of the season, when you're really making the push for the fantasy playoffs, and then when you make the playoffs and you're pushing for the championship,
they're huge.
He's one of those guys that could make a bigger impact than you can quantify right now. So I'm all in on drafting him as long as he's falling a little bit in your draft. If you're drafting right now today, or if you're drafting tomorrow, or even Wednesday, Thursday, I'm not taking Junior Caminero at his ADP right now.
Yeah.
Now, if he falls 2 or 3 rounds and I already have consistency from my corner infield spots, give me Junior Caminero as a plug and play later in the year. Same caveat, 8-team league, 10-team league, shallow 12-team league. I'm probably going to pass on him. 8 and 10-team league, I'm passing on Junior Caminero. You don't need to draft Junior Caminero in an 8 or a 10-team league. Shallow 12-team league, you probably still don't need to because you can find some solid options there. But deeper 12-team league and bigger, I'm fully on board with drafting him just as long as he drops a couple rounds before you pull the trigger on him.
Also, one more thing. Shout out those Rangers outfielders, too. We haven't tapped in on those guys yet. They're going off. They're ridiculous. I'm upset about it, but they're so good.
They really are. I think Wyatt Langford leads baseball in home runs for spring training or something like that, and Evan Carter is just a fucking, excuse my language, sorry for cussing. I'm trying to be special teams, special plays, special players. Sorry for cussing.
Family friendly.
I'm trying to get better at that. We do have
brother.
Some things in the works right now where I do have to be a little more family friendly. So bear with me as I try and work that out of my system. But they're so good, and they're both gonna likely hit like 3 and 4 or 2 and 3 for the Rangers this year. Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter. We talked about them before. That's the only reason I didn't mention them today. Otherwise, I would have been leading off the show with them because they're so goddamn good, dude. Yeah. Like, they're so good. And they need to be drafted everywhere. Honest to God, you could draft Wyatt Langford well before his current ADP, and I would tell you it was a good pick.
And weren't people really worried about, like, his first 11 plate appearances and having, like, a 40% strikeout rate? Look at him now. It's ridiculous. The sample sizes are too small, but look at the player. Just look at the player. He's so good.
He is. I think he's gonna be better than Jackson Holliday. I think he has more power than Jackson Holliday.
He does.
I think he may not steal as many bags as Jackson Holliday, but he has a hit tool that's just as good as Jackson Holliday with more home run ability.
It's going to be a good race.
Wyatt Langford.
It's going to be a good race,
man. And I'm scared to bet on that one. The only bet, like season-long bet that I'm going to make, and I'm probably going to make it when we get off here, is Spencer Strider for Cy Young.
He looks pretty good, too.
At my book, now, he's still plus 500. Yeah, he added like a legitimate changeup, and his curveball is so fucking good. Sorry for cussing. His curveball is so good that he just added. He's getting so many whiffs on the curve. And so for a guy that was throwing like 93% fastball and slider to now have a devastating curveball that he knows he can get in the zone and miss bats with, I think he strikes out 300 hitters this year. I think he's a first round pick this year.
Shout out Ted.
Betting type, I use a specific book that is online and available in Washington. And he is still plus 500 to win the Cy Young. I don't think that I'm going to get a better number on that. So I will be taking that. Thank you very much. Especially I guess he's in the NL. I was gonna say, especially with Garrett Cole going down, but that would have sounded really dumb if I'd said that out loud. But Uncle Dev said, "Thanks, I just jinxed Strider." Maybe that was my plan all along.
Just wait till playoffs; it'll come.
But shout out all you guys again for checking us out in the live, and shout out all of you that listen on the podcast feed. We thank you guys very much. If you are currently watching this on the live, if you could hit like or subscribe or follow on whatever platform you are on. We do these episodes 2 days a week. I am Blake Meyer. This is Dylan Lydell. I work for Fantasy Pros and Pitcher List, and I'm putting out tons of content nonstop. It was just worked out at the end of last week that I will once again be doing the weekly waiver wire article for Fantasy Pros for the upcoming season, as well as the weekly planner article, just like I did last season. So I'm bringing you guys a ton of great content during the year that we will also be talking about on here pretty consistently as well. We will give you guys great waiver wire additions, pitchers to look for, upcoming matchups to take advantage of, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this giveaway yet, but I'm going to do a giveaway for a Matt Wallner, and I'm going to do it tonight because I'm feeling generous. So
what a guy.
Like the stream on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or anywhere you're doing it, and I'll give it away to somebody that likes this by the time I wake up tomorrow. Follow us on the podcast feeds. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. And with that being said, we will catch y'all on Wednesday.